flip side to what I've been saying. Now, although he's not going to win, not because I don't want him to or whatever. Again, I have no real say in the matter because I'm Canadian and I'm up here in Canada. And but if Donald Trump was to win, number one, I would lose a bet, and I'd have to buy $100 worth of canned foods and non-perishable foods or whatever and take it to the Shepherds of Good Hope. Again, I'm very convinced that Hillary Clinton is going to win because the system is rigged. It's rigged. It's rigged. But I'm got to put out there what happens if he was to win. Now, the polls say very clearly he's going to win by a landslide. If you go outside the leftist polls, of ABC and New York Times and LA Times and all that, and all these other leftist polls. But let's say hypothetically he did win. Well, there's a couple of things. If he's not legit, he will not be able to do anything that he said he was going to do. And 4 years of people not working with him, nothing gets done, which is actually not a bad thing. Not a bad thing, because then, nothing gets worse. But you will get a civil race war under Donald Trump. If he's legit, you will definitely get a civil race war. Because the race war part of it is going to be manufactured against him, with George Soros and Hillary Clinton and all that. If he tries to take down Hillary Clinton, that means he's going to be trying to take down Henry Kissinger, George Soros, that type of thing. I think Donald Trump knows who these people are. And because he knows who these people are and how bad and evil they truly are, he's going to have to act quick. So he's going to have people that, are really on board really quickly and get these people, indicted as quickly as possible before they can respond, which is going to be a tricky task. So that's one of the things. Now, if he wins, and just wins is one thing, but if he wins even with a landslide, you have to understand he has to find people to work with. So most of the system is against him, even on his own side. Like the Republican Party is not pro-Donald Trump. Why? Because they're pro-Hillary because they're both on the same side. They're both as corrupt as possible. And sorry, I just got to get this fire kind of going. Yeah, that'll kick off in a minute. And the thing about that is for him to find people, he's going to have to fire so many people or expose who won't work with him, which just gets the people so fired up and mad that those people, again, they're going to be lynched. Literally, they're going to be killed by the people. The people, trust me, they won't be able to conduct business from Congress or without massive. Like, there's going to be so many people. You're going to have your leftists, in front of the White House protesting for 4 years. It's going to take place probably for 4 years. You're going to have all these leftists and that because they're so brainwashed that they don't know what they're looking at. But what will happen is that if he can't find people to work with, nothing gets done. And you have to also understand that one of the first things that they can do is a vote for Donald Trump is a green light for an economic collapse. They will because if they can let the system go on his watch, it works to their advantage. Number one, they can say, well, because of Trump's policies, the economy collapsed, you lost your retirement, everything like that, you voted it, it was your fault, and if you were a right-winger, you ruined the country. How do you like me now? And Donald Trump's response will be, well, okay, well, we're just not going to we're going to do an Iceland solution and bail out the people. Not the bankers. We're going to put the bankers in jail. But it's going to hurt the little guy anyway. That's why I say don't keep any more cash in the bank than you're willing to lose. Stockpile your food. It's going to get rough no matter which way we go. Donald Trump is not going to be good for Canada in the first little bit because of the rescinding, and if he rescinds NAFTA. Again, he's not going to do all this stuff in one night. You have to understand. But then again, this man might work faster than what you anticipate. So if you're Canadian, keep cash on hand. Canadians, and if you're Americans watching this, you're going to hear a lot of anti-Trump stuff coming from Canada. Right now, it's because of the CBCs, the leftist media. It is a George Soros, Rothschild media. So you have to understand that's where all the anti-Trump stuff comes from. You ask the average person in Canada, most of them, Canadians do tend to follow the politicians a little bit more to the word than my American counterparts in a lot of ways. We tend to not just jump right into the parties right away because we tend to hate them all. Like we really hate them all. Like they're all bad. Oh, it's because we keep getting the same thing over no matter what side you pick, right? So you can get a Zionist leftist, a Zionist right-winger. New boss, same as the old boss. In fact, Justin Trudeau's like almost tripling down on the way Obama did on Bush. Well, Justin Trudeau's kind of tripling down only more recklessly than Harper. As bad as Harper was, at least he could count. At least he understood that you got to keep a balanced budget to a degree. Yes, it took them forever to do it, but they were never so far out that they couldn't get anything done. You know what I mean? Like, they did do it quite a bit and keep it, whether you agreed with it or not, it's not the issue. But they kept a lot moving, so it didn't, they kept the ship off the rocks during the 2008 crash. We were the last ones into the recessions, first ones out. Canada still is on top on a lot of stuff, but we're going to be, we're losing it all now under Trudeau because you can't manage anything, right? That's not his job. His job is to, be a good speech, and visit people and, that type of thing, and go to parades, and that's what his job is. It's not really to govern a country. This man is still campaigning after he won. So his similarities to Obama are just like so. I mean, I think I've explained it pretty well before, but anyway. So Trump wins. Instantly, you get the leftist revolt and extremes amount of money from George Soros going to these leftist Trotskyists to break stuff, damage stuff, all that stuff. So you're going to get the revolts first. Trump is going to crack down on that. The world revolts are going to be basically, Trump is a racist and a bigot, racist and a bigot, racist and a bigot. This is going to harden the radical on both sides, for and against it. Everybody that hates the white guy, trust me, they're going to be out there, protesting. The white guys are going to be, okay, we've had enough of this. Because that's where it really comes down to, is anti-white is one of the tools they're using. So that's the divide and conquer. So people are going to pick their lines. They're going to be either the progressive lefty, which progressive is not what it means in the dictionary. It now means basically cultural Marxist, communist, Trotskyist, and all the cultural Marxists are moving into a Trotskyist mode and getting very, very violent. You're seeing it in, again, anybody that descends against, they're going to be putting teachers in jail here for not using the proper pronouns in schools. You can't make this stuff up. That's what they're going to be doing here, so they'll be doing it down there. So it's almost illegal to speak outside what is considered acceptable controlled speech. That type of thing. So Trump, obviously, I think he's going to blunder on a lot of stuff. They will try to force him into a crisis mode of a war of some point, but I don't think he's going to bite that easy. You're not going to be able to force this guy into a war with Russia. Why? Because it's going to be quite simple. Putin, within the first 100 days, he's going to be talking to Putin face to face, which makes it you're bypassing Henry Kissinger, once you bypass Henry Kissinger, then they lose so much control, they'll have to do crisis after crisis after crisis. And I don't think Trump is good. The only thing that Trump is going to bite on is Israel. So that means if you're in Israel, again, I have nothing against the Israeli people, but your government, trust me, they will slaughter you like that if it's for their own cause. These people, if you follow them long enough, you understand that they'll eat their young. So they could try to do a false flag against Israel, blame it on Iran to get Trump to go right into Iran. But he already knows about, and again, Trump was consistent. He was, at one point he was for the war, but as soon as he found out it was a scam, he was against the war. And, Trump flip-flops a bit. There's no doubt about that. But he speaks from the hip, so he's going to blunder, and he does change his opinions from time to time. He does have that kind of a problem. But I think for the most part, he stayed pretty consistent on his war stances and stuff like that. So I don't think he's going to get duped into a war with Iran like that. But that's where they would point him, because that's where they want to go anyway. That would work for the Greater Israel Project, Onyan Plan. And with the Samson option, yes, they're willing to kill us 33-1 per Israeli, so 33 or 35-1 or whatever it is, which if they're willing to let us get killed that way, that's how much they're willing to defend Israel, is that, okay, well, we'll defend Israel up to 33 soldiers, so if we kill get more than 33 soldiers killed per every one Israeli, well, they'll just kill more Israelis. It's like, okay, well, sorry, your quota's up, okay, well, we'll just kill more Israelis to justify killing more. It's the way these people work, right? They're really sick. So that could be a play that they could try. But I don't think it'll work. Why? Because he'll want proof. Look, we went to war over, weapons of mass destruction that didn't exist. I want proof. This is where I think the people that are backing Trump, again, we don't know, just because they back him doesn't mean they're, again, the best way to control the system is pretend you're a friend of, So Donald Trump, one thing that somebody pointed out is there is no military generals that are in favor of Trump, really. Yes, they'll endorse him, but these guys are in favor of the New World Order. So they're just, but the thing is they get exposed very quickly if they try to dupe him into a war. Because I don't think Trump is, one thing the banker said about George Bush Jr. was he was really stupid. It's like, you got to really dumb it down for him. He's really, really stupid. And whatever, you could kind of tell he's slow, Like Jeb Bush, he's slow, but I think his dad was even slower, or brother or dad, whatever they are. Anyway, yeah. So like that's what the bankers were saying about Jeb Bush. You can control him, but he's really stupid. You have to really explain things to this guy. So don't make it too complicated for him. That type of thing. So stupid people are easier to control, easier to manipulate. Donald Trump, I think he's impulsive. Yes, there's no doubt about that. But he's not stupid. So he's going to be harder to dupe in some ways. That said, anybody can be duped if you have a whole system. If you have a system that big working against you, yeah, you can be set up for a lot of things, no matter how smart you are. So when he wins, yes, the social justice warriors, they're going to be out there full swing. The economic collapse, they can let it go anytime they want. Why? Because they have a scapegoat, which is better, believe it or not. I know it's going to be bad for the people. I mean, there's going to be people dying no matter which way we go. But the good news is that even though it's bad, it's like you can survive an economic collapse. You can't survive the Third World War. So that's what I really want to stress to people, that you really want to get this. You really want to look into this one, and have your stuff, your food, your water, because we're going to see things we never thought before seen possible, and we're going to hear constantly, "Oh, we never thought that could happen here. This is a nice place." That gets quoted so many times in history. "Oh, that'll never happen. That'll never happen." Then it happens. Yeah, terrorists might take an airplane and fly it into a building and knock down a whole bunch of buildings and kill thousands of people. That's never going to happen. It happened. Doesn't matter if it's a conspiracy or not. The end result is planes did it. People died. Why? The why is not really as not really as important as when. There's the if and the whens. The why of who did it and why they did it. It just the idea that there are people out there willing to do that, set it up, whether legit terrorism, if you can call it terrorism legit, or false flag, whatever. The point is people are going to die in the masses at the whims of these crazy, crazy, crazy people. And we have to look at it in a few other ways, is that under Donald Trump, if he is the real deal and not just a staged puppet, and this is why if he's a staged puppet, he's not going to win anyway. That's why he can say whatever he wants. But he's basically being used to flush out the right-wingers. So anybody that is on the ballot or votes for Trump, guess what happens? You're now documented. Okay, we know this guy voted, this guy voted, this guy voted. Trust me, they document it. They probably have like cameras documenting your vote as we speak. Why do you think everything's electronic? Why? Because you can document it. Anonymity is because they want to know. I mean, you're talking about a country that spies on every one of its citizens, including here in Canada. I mean, they do it too. But they don't have the budget to do it like they do in the States. But they've got all this metadata on everybody. Why do you think that is? Because later on, when they need to persecute you, they can. And they're not going to go after everybody. They don't need to. They just need to make examples of a few. So they get one guy who's a little bit too vocal at his job about this or that. They fire him. They put it all over the news. He was a racist and a bigot and this and that. It's a subversion program I've been talking about, because you have to see these programs for what they are. Once you understand, think of all the people that are in positions of power that you can't criticize without going to jail or whatever. Criticizing Hillary Clinton can actually get you killed. Look at all the people that were going to testify or magically commit suicide the day before or have accidents the day before they testify. Lucky lady. It's about as lucky as ISIS finding all these American-made weapons in the desert. That type of thing. It just goes and it goes and it goes. So, but with a Trump win, it will be bad for Canada because the trade deals will have to be rescinded. But that would be a perfect opportunity for a nationalist party. Unfortunately, we don't have a proper nationalist party in Canada. We do have one, but they're 1933 Germany. And again, with November 11th just around the corner, way too many grandfathers died fighting Nazis. And nobody really wants to live in 1933 Germany. They want to move more forward. Look, even if you were to make the argument of Hitler good or bad or whatever, it doesn't matter. Hitler was thinking forward. He wasn't thinking backwards. He was thinking, what future do I want my people to have? He wasn't thinking, oh, geez, I want it to be like 70 years before that. No, he didn't do that. So, again, for people that want to live in that, that's never going to become a reality. So even under a Trump win, you have to understand, like, Trump isn't anti-immigration. He's anti-illegal immigration. For all the people who think that the borders are going to get closed up and you're going to get your country back. No, he isn't globalist per se. He's more nationalist and stuff like that. But when it comes, he's more fascist towards keeping, protectionism and stuff like that, and tariffs and stuff like that. And I agree with that. It protects your country. I don't agree with sending the jobs over there. Anybody that's, that's protectionism. Well, it's a very simple question you put to the people. Do you want your jobs here, or do you want them in Mexico, India, China, etc., Brazil, whatever? Where do you want to send the jobs? So if you want globalism, that's what it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you all the good paying jobs. Or do you want to just take advantage of third world labor for everyday low prices that become unaffordable to the people that work there? Again, when people can't afford to shop at Walmarts anymore, that type of thing, it tells you. And plus, you're being flushed out by a robot economy anyway. And it's coming in fast. This is what they talked about at Davos last year, was the transhumanist robot economy, driverless cars. It all follows suit. Whatever they talk about at Davos, can only imagine what they talk about at the Bilderberg meetings. But you see, that's all the media is talking about, driverless cars. Driverless cars. You don't want to drive anymore. Oh, you don't need to drive. Driverless cars here. Driverless tractor trailers. So think of all the truckers that are going to be put out of work. One thing I will say about Hitler, he even understood that you can't over-industrialize or you put too many people out of work. So what do you do with all these people out of work? Well, you take them to war. Why? Because you got to maintain population under 500 million, according to the Georgia Skystones, right? There's too many useless eaters. Latimer Lenin wrote in his memoirs how ecstatic he was when 20 million Russians starved to death, because he didn't need those useless eaters, and now they could start the economy again. They had just what they needed. That's how these people think. These people are just beyond sick. That type of thing. So Donald Trump, they can't really kill him, because if they do, and the other night, apparently no, it was not an attempted assassination attempt. It was a guy pulling out a sign, somebody yelled gun, and they took him away. And the guy even thanked the Secret Service for taking him away for basically, because he figured everybody was going to pound the shit out of him, I guess. So he's like, oh, well, thanks, I was just there to protest my... And I'm okay with that. But, yeah, it did turn out he was probably more... Democrat or Republicans for Hillary, trust me, that's like... yeah, that's either people that are too thick to research anything. I don't know how people could be like that, but they are like that. That it's like, they got their candidate, and if their candidate doesn't win, there's a reason why these people are out in the system, They're protecting something, and no, it's not the country. So you got that going on. But there's another thing that could have been a probe. Why? Because now they know which way, and other people pointed this out too, that now they know how the Secret Service are going to react when Trump is threatened. They know which side of the stage they're going to exit him on, etc., unless there's two sides of the stage or, curtain back or however they're going to do it. So now they know that. So they could be setting him up for an assassination. If he is the real deal, they'll have to kill him. Why? But as soon as they do that, again, the people turning on each other. This is the problem that the New World Order, maybe they realize they don't. But you have to also understand, for this election, there's a lot of world elites that are out of the country right now. John Kerry, for example, is going to be in Antarctica. Biggest election in their history. He's going to be in Antarctica. Safe place to be. Kind of a safe place to be this time of year. It's their summer right now. Or going into their summer. Yeah, world elites, they're all leaving for the election. What does that tell you? Something, they're preparing for something. But that's the thing, all these world elites, yeah, when they bug out, they lose the system anyway. Why? Because they're not going to be there to control it. And if they could try to control it from afar, well, they're over there, we're over here, that type of thing. The other problem is all the people that are yes men and yes women, again, them, their families, bad things are going to happen to them if they try to, again, it is working to an insolvency. But it's the amount of people, especially the law enforcement, I think they're going to be the worst nightmares for, when they start killing people. Yeah, you're going to have your jackboot thugs in the street. Yes, 90% or more of the military will open fire on its citizens and just follow orders. I know that. That's kind of the historical norm. No matter what they say now, it's when it comes down to it. That's why the Oath Keepers exist, is that they said it's going to come to that at some point. Maybe in our generation, the next generation. I think it will be in our generation. And when it does, when you give that order, are you going to stand down and sacrifice yourself? Because they'll kill you if you don't kill them, right? That type of thing. Or they'll kill your family, or they'll do whatever. That's how it works. That's how it always worked. The Red Army wasn't allowed to refuse orders. But when they stood down, when the Eastern Bloc stood down, over the Berlin Wall, the wall fell, right? So that stand down took every guy to stand back at the same time. One does it, they'll just execute him for not following orders and treason. And those days are coming. Those days are coming. If we're at the point where we're putting teachers in jail in Canada for saying words like boys and girls, We're at the point where we're about to do that. I think that just shows you that, okay, well, maybe I thought the revolution in Canada would be 10 to 15 years out, but it might be closer than that. I know the culture clash is about 8 to 10 years out. Yes, we're a lot more well-behaved in Canada, but with the new, again, we're pulling a Sweden, so in our immigration and stuff like that, and, 300,000 coming in of unvetted people, just bring them in, put them on welfare, that type of thing. That's what we're going to be doing. So that's going to create the destabilization. Problem is we're so multicultural here that one in every, basically 25% of our culture is, but we're not as divided as the States. But however, that's a flash in the pan. However, one area where we're massively overtaken, which will probably where the revolt will be first, is against social justice warriors and all these pedophiles that want to, educate the kids, that type of thing. You're seeing teachers revolt against it. And when your teachers revolt, does have historical norms, but that usually has the historical norm of Pol Pot, or Mao Zedong, where the teachers just end up in, firing squads and death ditches. Oh, that'll never happen in Canada. It's happened before in Canada several times. If it can happen here, it can happen anywhere. It just hasn't happened for a long time. Human beings tend to forget. So yeah, we could see. We're going to see a gun law crackdown by the end of the year. Banning the United Nations Small Arms Trade Treaty deal has already been signed here now, and it will be ratified. I don't know when they ratify it, but if it hasn't been already, so we're just going to see gun rights go here, but that won't matter. So because the system isn't big enough to really repel a populism uprising here at all, and they have what they want. Everybody's on the left pretty much here in Canada, so right wingers are heavily outnumbered. Therefore, our revolution is a little bit further down before the people feel the pain. It's when, like right now, like they're not paying people in Canada, in the government. They say it's a new pay system problem, but what it is the government is broke and they can't pay these government workers. They just can't tell them that, though. So they got these people working, pretending to work, and they're pretending to pay them, just like you see in Soviet Russia, that type of thing. So yeah, the socialism has went to where it's going to go. So the only thing next down after that is totalitarianism. Really crack down on the populace so that people don't speak out. So we're a little further down the line, but we're going to be doing the same things. Now, as we see the Trump effect, it will take effect up here in Canada because Trump, the first, I'd say, year and a half, nobody's going to want to live under a Trump presidency. After that year and a half, you're going to start to see things, within probably 18 months, start to improve if he does what he says he was going to do. You'll see manufacturing start to restore in the United States. You're going to see a lot of manufacturing terrorism. There's going to be a lot of disasters blamed on policy. They deregulated this, so this blew up. That blew up. All the gas pipelines that happen to be blowing up, on the East Coast and all that. It's almost on a weekly basis now, and all these people are out of gas, out of fuel. That is to control the price of oil. You have to understand that. That's the same reason why we had the Alberta fires. Can you prove it? No, but the timing, what was the outcome? You figure it out. That type of thing. That's the way these people work. So they will be fighting Trump left, right, and center. But the problem is if they collapse the system on him, then it's like you're doing him a favor, because then he can just say, okay, well, we're just going to put the world bankers in jail for corruption, like they did in Iceland, only hopefully they do it for more than 2.5 years. You need to put these people in firing squads. I do believe Donald Trump will bring back the death penalty. He'll probably not put it federally to the point of making every state take it, but he will bring it in for certain things, acts of terrorism. He'll probably will close Guantanamo Bay, but the alternative is they go right to the guillotine, that type of thing. That's what Trump is going to do. He's in a radical position. He's going to act radically. He will kill those people. Why? They're terrorists. You can't really reason with them. Do we really need to spend all that time trying to figure out why they do what they do? Not really. It's going to end somewhere. This is how genocides always happen. It's insolvent. Rather than try to figure out how we offended these people to do this, to do that, to do whatever, just put them down. You know what I mean? We already know they're crazy. Why they're crazy? Okay, we've had a lot of time to research these people. Just put them down. That type of thing. These people destroyed the country from within. Put them down. That's what Trump is going to do. It will get to that. He will become very dictatorial, if that's a word, dictator anyway. But that's what the Americans are at anyway. Everything is so divided. But a Trump win, again, economically will be hard on Europe. It will be hard on Canada because of the new trade deal. So obviously, demonization of Trump is going to go full batshit crazy in Canada, which will upset relations to a degree, but Justin Trudeau's a pushover, and Donald Trump knows who George Soros is. So basically, whatever Soros tries to propagate here in Canada will be exposed. I think Trump's just going to point the finger at the puppeteers. He's pulling back the green curtain of Oz. You know what I mean? He's going to be doing that. He's already been doing that. But I think he's staying reserved. But, however, even though I know he's not going to win, because, but if he was to win and nobody works with him, that tells you he was legit. If he wins and he does what he says he's going to do, obviously that tells you he's legit. If he loses, like I say, and he just kind of disappears after the election and you never hear from him again, then, of course, it was legit. Now, if he loses the election and they rake this guy over the coals and he ends up homeless and they destroy his family and whatever, then you know he was legit. So that's about the only way we can tell, because he's playing such a poker face right now that he's either the real thing or he's a man you definitely don't want to play poker. He's out playing Putin. That's how good he is. Or he's the real deal. Now, there's another angle on this. Again, like I say, Donald Trump is playing the hellhound right now, or maybe the world is a stage like we see, or he's the real deal. Again, yes, he has to run into this guy lives in the Zionist circle, so he has to work with it. So, but it's only after the election that you find out whether he's legit or not, no matter who wins. But one thing that does kind of nerve me is Steve Pieczenik, getting back to him. His little address of how there's a soft coup going on in the States and the restoring rule of law, but he makes references to Henry Kissinger. Maybe Henry Kissinger conceded, saying, okay, well, we don't want to have a civil war because you guys will kill us, so we'll let you guys take back the system for now. We never know. But if he was really a good guy, all the way in, Henry Kissinger has to go down. George Soros has to go down. Rothschilds have to go down. You can't just get rid of Hillary Clinton's. That's not enough. But, like I've said, that they'll sacrifice the Clintons like that if they think the Clintons are going to take them down. But what they will do is, if there was no possibility for Clinton to win or rig the election, they would kill her before the election and cancel the election. Or they'd find a reason to cancel the election, which, with 1 day to go, I don't think that's going to happen. So that play, I think, is off the table. What they might do is, after the election, is kill her off and have their number 2 person take over, saying, okay, well, this is the vice president, so whoever the vice president is, that's most likely who the New World Order has chosen to, and they're not going to tell Hillary Clinton they're going to knock her off. She's not going to see it coming. But she is so corrupt that her chances of survival are very slim between now and January, because of the fact that if they can arrest this woman on something, I mean, the child pedophile rings, the email scandal, the death cult, that's all the corruption, the pay for play up here. Justin Trudeau's got a thing. It's similar pay for play type of thing, buying influence. Again, go Al Capone, one charge: crimes against humanity. That's all. Did their laws bring in crime? These crises that lead to people. That's all they got to do. All these world elites: Kissinger, Brzezinski, Soros, Rothschilds. They lie. Catch them in the lie. Did their lie lead to mass people being killed? Bush's weapons of mass destruction. There were none. And the ones they did found were light chemical weapons that were supplied by the United States. So, again, it is what it is. So, Saddam Hussein was never going to be able to launch nuclear missiles. They knew this and you can easily prove this. And even if you get them on a negligence thing, you can get them, charge them 150 years per person died. Out of 1.5 million Iraqis, you can get a lot of people in the system put away beyond, and because you can get them under the NDAA, you can just scoop them up, then find the evidence. That's the laws they put in. Use their own laws against them. You want to see those laws go away? Use it against them. That type of thing. But you have to take these people down. Now, Steve Pieczenik said something else about Trump, that he wanted to thank the Trump and the Trump family. These people weren't political people, but they stepped up and they did this and they did that. Kind of making it sound like it's an inside job of a coup, to make it look like he's running for president when he's really not, to restore rule of law. But the thing is until you put Kissinger and Soros, the Clintons away, the Bushes, the Obamas, the Blairs, the Harpers, the Trudeaus, until you put those people out, Trudeau hasn't really done anything yet to really warrant mass jailing. But give him time, because he's following the same, you can't, even if he's cut from the cloth of his dad, you can't really say, okay, well, his dad did this, so he has to go to jail. George Soros' son, the same thing. Yes, he's probably going to be as bad or worse than his father. Usually the apple doesn't fall far from the tree and it evolves into something worse. But, again, you can't, to restore rule of law, you can only charge the people who did the crime. We must remember this. So the thing is that I think this soft coup is probably more of an appeasing to make it look like they're doing something positive. But again, is Trump in on it all the way? I can't say he is. I can't say he isn't. He is saying all the right things, but so did Obama in 2008. That type of thing. So it is really, trust issues are a big problem because you don't know until after the fact. But that said, clearly, if you vote for Trump, one thing about Clinton isn't held to a standard. She's not held to any standard. The left don't hold her to a standard. They'll do her bidding. Her husband is a pedophile. That doesn't make her a pedophile, but she sticks up for him. This woman has brutalized other women to defend her rapist, pedophile husband. I don't know if you guys seen that thing with Joe Biden and the 13-year-old girl. I don't know if that's true. God, I hope that's not true. But it's creepy no matter which way. I'm not talking just him rubbing her shoulders. But if he said to her the things like that, because he can't really clearly make it out. So I would love to hear a cleaned up audio of this, but again, it's propaganda. But if he said those things, it just shows you how freaking evil these people are. And that's disgusting. And the parents there going, thank you. So he couldn't have said that to her. He couldn't have said that to her. I'm in disbelief on that one. I need to see more proof on that. I need to hear a better of that audio. But if that's said, that tells you what kind of people are out there that run in Hillary Clinton circles. John Podesta, this guy basically has modelings of Jeffrey Dahmer's killings in his house, statues of Jeffrey Dahmer's killings in his house. These people are so sick. And then, of course, there's the spiritual. I have no doubt that Hillary Clinton is a Satanist. Devil worshiper, that type of thing. The evidence is overwhelming at this point. Most of them I probably think are. It explains a lot. It doesn't explain everything, but it's a part of the puzzle. So we're never going to know the truth with these people because they don't operate in truth. They operate in lie. But the problem is they're so psychopathic and so delusional, they don't even know when to shut up, which is kind of good for us because then they give us all the ammunition we need to put them in jail. Should we get some brave law enforcement, military, and actually put them in jail? Now, the problem is you have to get the people who are running defense. Loretta Lynch, if Donald Trump wins, she goes to jail. Director Comey, he goes to jail. There's a whole host of them are going to go to jail. I think the Goldman Sachs crowd is shitting bricks right now if Donald Trump is the real thing. You have world elites taking off from the states for this election. Why? Because if Donald Trump wins, they could go to jail. Now, the thing is they have, I don't think anything can happen before January, right? So they have two and a half months to get out of Dodge because Trump, I think he's going to start doing the part right away. He's already acting the part of president. And I think one of the first things he's going to do is go visit with Putin, which, even if you hate Trump for everything, the fact that he's willing to work with the Russians doesn't mean he will improve relations with the Russians, but at least he's willing to negotiate with the Russians, meaning we're less likely to have a war. Hillary Clinton, within the first 100 days of her presidency, we will have a massive, major conflict with Russia. Almost guaranteed. Almost guaranteed. This woman, there's so many angles, so many speeches on this topic that she has talked about that you cannot draw any other conclusion than she wants to go to war with Russia. That is because Henry Kissinger wants to go to war with Russia. Now, yes, Henry Kissinger, is Putin and him in bed together? There's a possibility. Kissinger is the messenger that goes to Russia to state the New World Order's intentions, and the Russians state theirs, and the chips fall where they may. That's the way. I'd love to be a fly on the wall in their conversations. Putin does invite Kissinger to his household from time to time, but I think it's just one of those courtesy visits, the way it sounds. And Alexander Dugin is Putin's kind of, I wouldn't say puppet master, but a very prominent figure. I would listen to him more to find out what Russia's about than even Putin. And trust me, if we listen to Alexander Dugin, Henry Kissinger is the opposite of what Russia is going for. So they're the other side of the empire. They are not going to secede to the New World Order. And the New World Order needs to maintain. Alexander Dugin refers to them as the Old World Order. Russia will become the new, and trust me, that will be a scary world as well. So again, governments around the world have failed everybody. This is very clear as day. There's no way to deny this. But a Trump win also means a lot of destabilization, but survivable. Have your food now. If you've got your vacation money, maybe, again, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just saying this is what I do. If I had vacation money saved up for a trip to, say, Hawaii, maybe I would put that trip off, take a third of that money, go out, buy food, ammo, medical supplies, cash on hand, whatever it needs. I'd keep that vacation money, number one, out of the bank. Just in case you had to, keep it as vacation money, but as long as you have your stuff, take inventory of what's in your house, because if they let the economy go on Trump's watch, which they would love to do that because they can blame it on him. The bankers don't want to be blamed for this. This is why a war is the best masking for an economic collapse. It always has been. But the problem is there's too many people now that know who's going to take us to war. This is why recruitment is so low. This is why they've had to lower the standards to allow felons and transgenders run the military. Is because, and again, if it sounds like I'm picking on transgenders, no, they're useful idiots. I don't really care if somebody wants to dress up or take an operation. As long as you pay for it yourself and you're not trying to brainwash the kids, I don't care. But that agenda is very clear. So that said, the lowering of, allowing felons to become, and lowering the standards of police officer equals more police shooting people and following orders, why they'll just do it. The reason why the United Nations Safe Cities Act comes in is so United Nations troops can police U.S. cities. They're going to do it here in Canada. We'll probably end up doing it before you. We're ahead of the United States in the New World Order agenda right now. That's very clear as day. So we're doing all Agenda 2030 stuff, gender parity and all that stuff, which is not what you think it is. It's not for equality and women's rights and LGBTQ rights. It's not for that at all. It looks like that, but it's about shutting down the system, locking down the system, and having a reason. Because who is going to reject that stuff? People, clear-minded, thinking people. They can't do that. Before, what Pol Pot used to do was execute people wearing glasses. Why? Because they could possibly read. If they could possibly read, they could possibly be a threat to the communist system. So that said, again, when children are going to have to refer to each other as comrades for equality purposes in school or be heavily disciplined, well, multiculturalism is the new religion. Diversity is our strength. All these things, the idea of our society doesn't have a history other than 40 years ago of multiculturalism. That's what's being promoted in Canada. There are really no nations. There are no borders. There are no genders, whatever. There is no freedom of speech. There is no clear thought. There is only New World Order, New Speak. In other words, 1984, Orwellian 1984, check and mate and well surpassed. Even Orwell could not have written a novel this terrifying. And it's here. And it's trying to be maintained. So, that said, keeping on with Trump, economically, I think he's going to be a very good thing. Not in the short run, because they're going to try to take him down. He's going to be stonewalled. That anybody that gets in his way, I think, is going to be removed. And painfully removed. Either publicly or physically. It will go to that. He will have to resort to that to maintain it. Because Donald Trump, one thing about him being an egomaniac, psychopath, and there's about 18 to 22 types of psychopath out there, and he fits probably a few of them. He is not a sadistic man, but he is a man. What's up, Bizu? He's a man that could become a very Joseph Stalin towards his opponents. He could be like that very, very snap. Which, again, all these people in the Congress, the president might not have free domain, but anybody that stops him on his way will be ousted in the media. The media is going to be sacrificed. The United Nations is going to be sacrificed. This man is basically nationalism with a nice, pretty bow on top. He will be fascist, there's no doubt about that. Fascism is not good nor bad, it's how you use it, like anything. Even communism. If everybody in the village is communistically minded, it usually works. To a degree, it's just it never goes anywhere. That type of thing. Problem is because communism, yes, we've tried it enough times. No, it will not work the next time. It always fails. Why? Because it's unsustainable. So, if he lets the unsustainable stuff... think about this. You're a nationalist, okay? The leftist government and New World Order puts an economic collapse on you. You say, okay, well, you know what? We're not going to secure the deposits of the bank. What we're going to do is we're going to secure the people, and we're going to throw the bankers in jail. We're going to let it collapse. Oh yeah, but that means all these government workers will be out of work. Yeah, great austerity plan. it works right away. It's like, well, they let it go, and again, Trump will just push it back on the bankers, and he'll use names. And when he's in power, he can use names. I think he's holding back a lot. Again, I was amazed when he mentioned the name George Soros. If I hear the name Rothschild out of him, I'm going to flip out. I'm going to be like, okay, nobody brings those people up at all. And, again, they're fighting very hard for this system. But, again, if Kissinger's in it, and the way Steve Pieczenik is talking, that thank you to the Trump family for stepping up and doing what you're doing, was it not a coup that was planned? And if it was a planned coup and Kissinger is involved, you didn't win. You didn't win. I don't think Steve Pieczenik is I do believe he is one of the good guys, but I think he's a shady good guy. I do believe he'll restore law and order to a degree, to a believable sanity, but I don't believe he is going to overthrow the New World Order, because you cannot speak well of Kissinger, period. Kissinger is an evil man. The Gulf of Tonkin incident, that's what got 58,000 Americans killed and over 1 million Vietnamese killed over a lie. It never happened. This man is in there with Zbigniew Brzezinski, George Soros, Rothschilds, Rockefellers. Every war leads back to these guys. The Middle East leads back to these guys. They're all the same. It's all the same empire. So you really have to look at them for what they are. So now I'm suspicious of Trump on this one thing only. But that said, it could be, again, if it's a hoax all along, Trump can say whatever he wants because he's not going to win anyway. But again, the indication when you find out after Hillary, because she's going to win. Again, I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I've stated it very many times. I'm so convinced she's going to win. Why? Because the system is rigged. The banking system is the money system. The money system is the military system. The military system is the education system. The education system is the media system. It's one system, all owned by Rothschilds, Rockefeller at the very top at the end of the day. Lockheed Martin, owned by Rothschild. Raytheon, owned by Rothschild. These are the weapons manufacturers. NOAA, the United Nations, Rothschild, Rockefeller. Oil, Rothschild, Shell, Rothschild, Rockefeller. You know what I mean? Like, it's the same people at the top. And there's other ones in there. These are the people I would like to start with to restore a rule of law and put those people in jail, because these are the most evil people on the planet. Now, that said, again, it's going to come down to the law enforcement military. When the first wave hellhounds, which, yes, Donald Trump is a hellhound, again, called spooks with conscience, patriots, people who want to restore their country and rule of law, nationalists, whatever, sure, they're that. Steve Pieczenik, I do believe, Joe Skousen is a hellhound, trying to restore rule of law. Alex Jones, yes, love her or hate him, he is a hellhound, trying to restore rule of law. Are they perfect? No. They still have the Zionist connection. They still are too pro-Israel. But you have to understand, you have to throw Israel under the bus and let it fend for itself in order to save the world. Because if we keep following U.S. foreign policy, we're following Israeli foreign policy for the greater Israel project, or the Odin plan. And when you understand what that is, you understand exactly what the Middle East is orchestrated. It's not an accident. John McCain sitting there with his favorite buddies, al-Baghdadi. Right now, and I believe in the UK or maybe in Sweden, I can't remember, they're talking about taking jihadists into Europe, okay, pardoning them and giving them jobs so that they'll stop their jihad. So when does al-Baghdadi show up? You just gave a haven for all these ISIS elites. You know, John McCain's best friends. Pictures with them. He even refers to them as the good guys. You can't make this stuff up. Again, that's how crazy these people are. So when you're looking at it like that, again, if Trump is the real deal, he's got a hell of a fight ahead of him. The campaign is nothing. He's going to have to, there's going to be such bloodshed on this one, it's not going to be funny. That said, if Trump is the real deal, they could possibly kill him, but they know they can only kill him if they're ready to crack down on the people. They can't take the populist uprising, that type of thing. They would love nothing more. The DHS would love nothing more than to shoot at its own citizens. Again, if you're part of the DHS, you're part of the terrorist organization. Same with the CIA. There are no good guys in there, in my opinion. These people are bad. If you have not taken out the directors, the NSA, the CIA, the FBI, if you haven't put them into cuffs and put them into jail, then you are not doing the right thing. If you are trying to do the right thing and they oust you, that's one thing. Okay, I can see that. Then you're on the right side. You are for the people and you are for the country. But until you do that, no. You know, you're all a part of the system. Stalin's secretary was just as evil as Hitler's secretary, in my opinion. They both all deserve the firing squad. Why? Total war. That's what total war is. The people who make the uniforms, the people who pack the lunches for the soldiers, that's total war. If you support the system, then you are the system. So if you're working in the government, you're part of that system. Does it make you evil? Not necessarily. I'm not saying there should be no government or anything like that. But if you're working in the system, parts of the system, yes, it's compartmentalized. But if you're specifically working in the parts of the system that protect the criminality part of it, then yes, you are a terrorist against you're a traitor and a terrorist against your own people. That's the definition of it. If you arm terrorists, you are a terrorist. If you work with terrorists, you are a terrorist. That's the way it is. And this is what law enforcement, military, I think, were the second wave hellhounds. Again, these guys, they know who's doing what. So just watch for directors getting killed, knocked off, a lot of suicides, a lot of accidents, how they're going to do it. Again, we're never going to know the names of these spy people. But I think they do come out on Trump's watch when people won't work with Trump. They have no choice but to work with Trump, or they're going to be ousted. Again, there will be, Congress is about to shrink by a lot. Can he fire people left, right, center? No. But he can get the people to fire them. Not through voting, but through revolution. And that's Trump, I think, if he is the real deal, on day one, he's going to name names. He's going to have to name everybody. Anybody that he doesn't think is in the right side. Again, other little indicators. Julie Rudiani is in Trump's corner and Trump's in his corner. That kind of makes me a little bit nervous. But again, considering who he is, that type of thing, I don't trust the man. That type of thing. But is it just one empire fighting the other empire again and the people suffering? I don't know. The only way that we know is when Trump fails. When Trump fails, then the second stage hellhounds go. Then after that, it's the third wave hellhound, which is just a bloodbath and a military coup. I don't believe you get a military coup under Trump. You will get the second stage hellhounds because the end of the first wave of hellhounds stops tomorrow night after Hillary is elected. That's when it goes, and then you'll see the persecutions right away. They won't cover it on the mainstream media, but there's people they can embarrass, there's people they can humiliate, there's people they can fire, but there's a lot of people that Hillary Clinton is going to have killed. Anybody at the FBI that is trying to revolt is marked. A few of them will be marked for death. There's no doubt about that. Why? They have to purge the system, or that type of thing. And the one thing about the Trump, again, if this is all a show, he's flushed everybody out. It was a perfect ploy all along. Get people to get on board with him, then we at least know who we're up against. They've showed their hand, they've showed their cards. So that's kind of my take on it. But tomorrow will be an interesting day, no matter which way it goes. I can only imagine the riots on either. It's going to be rough no matter which way it goes. How rough? I don't know. I don't think we see it right away. If the system goes on, like if Hillary Clinton wore, one good thing about Hillary Clinton winning is that it gives you time to prepare because the system is going to stay the same. So it gives you time to prepare for the war, the economic collapse. But make no mistake, there will be a civil war in the States under Hillary Clinton. I don't know if it starts the very first day as a shooting war, but there will be people killed. That will be patriots leading to the third wave hellhounds. The second wave hellhounds will take place probably within the first 2 to 3 weeks after Hillary Clinton wins. Watch for people around her dropping dead like flies. I do believe there's going to be all kinds of suicides and assassinations. Both sides will be doing it because, again, dead men, dead women tell no tales. So anybody that they can go after, that's one of the things that Kissinger will probably order is anybody that they can take down to take down the Clintons because Clintons can take down him. That type of thing. Again, she follows her marching orders from Henry Kissinger. And we have to point that out. So, interesting times. Again, I don't know how anybody can watch mainstream media. The discussion is so much more interesting. But we'll see under Clinton a massive crackdown on the internet. Alex Jones will be taken off the air within the year. There's no doubt about that. Guys like me will be, our channels will be just shut down. That type of thing. When my channel goes down, look for the new channel. I don't know how long it'll take. The Northern Beacon is what I'm going to call it. So look for that channel. I don't know if it'll be able to be a geopolitical channel, but if the chess game moves a little bit more tough than it is, then I have to step up my game and start to send you messages in more cryptic ways. Like mention things for you to look at. Just to, again, they did this in the Soviet Union and stuff like that. They did this in Eastern Germany, where they would use, newspaper clippings to kind of link things together. Kind of, it's a sunny day today. Look at a sunny day right over Hamburg today. Looks like there's only 5 guards on the wall today. Wink, wink. All that. I know the Berlin Wall. It's not, Berlin. But you get the idea. The rabbit jumped over the fox. That type of thing. The eagle has landed. You get the idea. It gets cryptic. And the goal on that is where I point things out to you. You'll have to do your research for yourself. That's the best I'll be able to do because they'll just keep shutting down the channel. And at some point, when I take to the streets, I do see it coming, where I'm going to have to just really take the ridicule, go out to the streets, get big billboards on Parliament Hill, get my protest permits. What permits? I can't believe I'm saying that. Ask for my right to freedom of speech, just to get the people noticed. After that, it's anarcho-terrorism, where you're posting up Guy Pearce masks, and you know they're watching you. You know, putting out their little pills and crumbs on street lamps. You know, Bill C. whatever. You know, look into it. It's against your children. It's against this. It's against that. Those days are coming. You know, to a degree, they're already here now. There's so many people that can't speak freely. I can only speak freely because I'm my own boss. But when that day goes away, I'm pretty much doomed. I probably, if anybody looks at my Facebook, whatever, I probably cannot get hired at anywhere. I haven't tried, so I don't know. So that type of thing. And with a cashless society coming around the corner in 2018, welfare will probably be even impossible for many people that speak out. Oh well, you have a problem because you have a human rights tribunal claim against you, or whatever it's going to be. It sounds like fiction now, but again, the stuff I'm talking about now that I was talking about in 2008, that is past tense. Scares the living shit out of me. You know, because you don't see, it is a frog boiling moment. It's just, you don't see it because it doesn't happen bang like that. It takes years for it to, to get this far. The education level of children now is terrifying. The social, hypersensitive social justice warriors out there are terrifying. Is it everywhere? No, but it is more dominant than you think. It's not as bad as you think. We could still save the system with reality, but the next two generations are lost. If we lose this one, we lose the next two generations. Right, Kazoo? All right. So anyway, if you like this kind of content, please consider making a donation to the channel. Links down below. Thank you so much to everybody who has. Next time, rate, subscribe, share, comment, like. Check out Kazoo's butt. I don't know why. Be true to yourself. Be true to others. Always do the right thing, and have yourselves a great day. Hey, and welcome. All right. A little bit of a flip side to what I've been saying. Now, although he's not going to win, not because I don't want him to or whatever. Again, I have no real say in the matter because I'm Canadian and I'm up here in Canada. And but if Donald Trump was to win, number one, I would lose a bet, and I'd have to buy $100 worth of canned foods and non-perishable foods or whatever and take it to the Shepherds of Good Hope. Again, I'm very convinced that Hillary Clinton is going to win because the system is rigged. It's rigged. It's rigged. But I'm got to put out there what happens if he was to win. Now, the polls say very clearly he's going to win by a landslide. If you go outside the leftist polls, of ABC and New York Times and LA Times and all that, and all these other leftist polls. But let's say hypothetically he did win. Well, there's a couple of things. If he's not legit, he will not be able to do anything that he said he was going to do. And 4 years of people not working with him, nothing gets done, which is actually not a bad thing. Not a bad thing, because then, nothing gets worse. But you will get a civil race war under Donald Trump. If he's legit, you will definitely get a civil race war. Because the race war part of it is going to be manufactured against him, with George Soros and Hillary Clinton and all that. If he tries to take down Hillary Clinton, that means he's going to be trying to take down Henry Kissinger, George Soros, that type of thing. I think Donald Trump knows who these people are. And because he knows who these people are and how bad and evil they truly are, he's going to have to act quick. So he's going to have people that, are really on board really quickly and get these people, indicted as quickly as possible before they can respond, which is going to be a tricky task. So that's one of the things. Now, if he wins, and just wins is one thing, but if he wins even with a landslide, you have to understand he has to find people to work with. So most of the system is against him, even on his own side. Like the Republican Party is not pro-Donald Trump. Why? Because they're pro-Hillary because they're both on the same side. They're both as corrupt as possible. And sorry, I just got to get this fire kind of going. That'll kick off in a minute. And the thing about that is for him to find people, he's going to have to fire so many people or expose who won't work with him, which just gets the people so fired up and mad that those people, again, they're going to be lynched. Literally, they're going to be killed by the people. The people, trust me, they won't be able to conduct business from Congress or without mass. Like, there's going to be so many people. You're going to have your leftists, in front of the White House protesting. for 4 years. It's going to take place probably for 4 years. You're going to have all these leftists and that, because they're so brainwashed that they don't know what they're looking at. But what will happen is that if he can't find people to work with, nothing gets done. And you have to also understand that one of the first things that they can do is a vote for Donald Trump is a green light for an economic collapse. They will because if they can let the system go on his watch, it works to their advantage. Number one, they can say, well, because of Trump's policies, the economy collapsed, you lost your retirement, everything like that, you voted it, it was your fault, and if you were a right-winger, you ruined the country. How do you like me now? And Donald Trump's response will be, well, okay, well, we're just not going to bail. We're going to do an Iceland solution and bail out the people. Not the bankers. We're going to put the bankers in jail. But it's going to hurt the little guy anyway. That's why I say don't keep any more cash in the bank than you're willing to lose. Stockpile your food. It's going to get rough no matter which way we go. Donald Trump is not going to be good for Canada in the first little bit because of the rescinding, and if he rescinds NAFTA. Again, he's not going to do all this stuff in one night. You have to understand. But then again, this man might work faster than what you anticipate. So if you're Canadian, keep cash on hand. Canadians, and if you're Americans watching this, you're going to hear a lot of anti-Trump stuff coming from Canada. Right now, it's because of the CBCs, the leftist media. It is a George Soros, Rothschild media. So you have to understand that's where all the anti-Trump stuff comes from. You ask the average person in Canada, most of them, Canadians do tend to follow the politicians a little bit more to the word than my American counterparts in a lot of ways. We tend to not just jump right into the parties right away because we tend to hate them all. We really hate them all. They're all bad. But it's because we keep getting the same thing over no matter what side you pick, right? So you can get a Zionist leftist, a Zionist right-winger. New boss, same as the old boss. In fact, Justin Trudeau's almost tripling down on the way Obama did on Bush. Well, Justin Trudeau's kind of tripling down only more recklessly than Harper. As bad as Harper was, at least he could count. At least he understood that you got to keep a balanced budget to a degree. Yes, it took them forever to do it, but they were never so far out that they couldn't get anything done. You know what I mean? They did do it quite a bit and keep it. Whether you agreed with it or not is not the issue. But they kept a lot moving, so it didn't. They kept the ship off the rocks during the 2008 crash. We were the last ones into the recessions, first ones out. Canada still is on top on a lot of stuff, but we're going to be. We're losing it all now under Trudeau because he can't manage anything, right? That's not his job. His job is to, be a good speech, and visit people and, that type of thing and go to parades. And that's what his job is. It's not really to govern a country. This man is still campaigning after he won. So his similarities to Obama are just so, I think I've explained it pretty well before. But anyway, so Trump wins. Instantly you get the leftist revolt. And extremes amount of money from George Soros going to these leftist Trotskyists to break stuff, damage stuff, all that stuff. So you're going to get the revolts first. Trump is going to crack down on that. The world revolts are going to be basically, Trump is a racist and a bigot, racist and a bigot, racist and a bigot. This is going to harden the radical on both sides, for and against it. Everybody that hates the white guy, trust me, they're going to be out there, protesting. The white guys are going to be, okay, we've had enough of this. Because that's where it really comes down to is anti-white is one of the tools they're using. So that's the divide and conquer. So people are going to pick their lines. They're going to be either the progressive lefty, which progressive is not what it means in the dictionary. It now means basically cultural Marxist, communist, Trotskyist, and all the cultural Marxists are moving into a Trotskyist mode and getting very, very violent. You're seeing it in, again, anybody that descends against, they're going to be putting teachers in jail here for not using the proper pronouns in schools. You can't make this stuff up. That's what they're going to be doing here, so they'll be doing it down there. So it's almost illegal to speak outside what is considered acceptable controlled speech. That type of thing. So Trump, obviously, I think he's going to blunder on a lot of stuff. They will try to force him into a crisis mode of a war of some point, but I don't think he's going to bite that easy. You're not going to be able to force this guy into a war with Russia. Why? Because it's going to be quite simple. Putin, within the first 100 days, he's going to be talking to Putin face to face, which makes it you're bypassing Henry Kissinger, once you bypass Henry Kissinger, then they lose so much control, they'll have to do crisis after crisis after crisis. And I don't think Trump is good. The only thing that Trump is going to bite on is Israel. So that means if you're in Israel, again,